All right. Hello. I am Wubzington, and this is my team. Not a very good team, but a team. Um, that's about all. I made this in Pixlr in about 10 minutes. I just kind of threw some stuff on the Jersey Devils logo. Um, and called it a day. Turned out pretty nice, given that I didn't use a mouse. Um, and yeah, I can go ahead and close out of that. Let me go ahead and now open back up this. All right. So, any questions to start it off?
Okay, yeah. What was your team's overall record before the postseason?
Before the postseason, I was 12-7, and I got fourth place. So I did get a bye going into the playoffs.
Now
Um,
I want to move on to you talking about your teams, everything about it.
I'm going to take a page out of Cam's book and actually go through the uh, history of the team. Um, draft. Draft team started like this. I really just kind of went into it with no plan whatsoever. Um, I used the information that Empoleon is good from my own little not draft, metronome tournaments that I did, and was like, "Hey, that'd be funny. I don't really care about this guy, but I'll take him." Um, and there's a little bit of a lore development for that love. Um, this guy right here, I just figured he was tanky, and Black Sludge is good. Poison Touch is also pretty good. Also, this guy, he's just pretty funky. I like him. Um, this guy right here, his name is Poison Healant, and the only fear that I had going into the whole season was Gliscor. Um, so the whole gimmick was that he was just gonna get mummied and then hurt himself with poison, and I thought that was really funny. And then I ended up not even using him against Gliscor. Um, anyway, it goes on to Tropius that I got in the fourth round for some reason, and never used. But this was Fat Juicy Nanners, and I kind of thought Harvest would be really good, and then never found a niche for it. Um, this guy right here, this was just in case Poison Healant didn't do his job. So Wheezing would turn off Toxic Orb, and that was about it. Anyway, I got RL Swine over here, the Mammo Swine. Didn't really have a plan for him, so I just slapped a weakness policy on that boy. Um, Pretty solid, I guess. He's just kinda big, kinda strong. I like him. He's a cool guy. Going down, he's usually blue, so this guy was Mordecai. My whole thing was that I really liked the idea of Defiant and competitive because I thought it was funny. I figured there was gonna be a lot of, uh, what is it, status moves. Um, so whatever, I just slapped a scope lens on that guy. Was like, "Hey, if he gets +2 attack, maybe he'll start critting." He didn't. Um, that leads me to the forbidden egg because we all needed a below 400 base stat mon. And he seemed like the best idea for me at the time because he's just Ferrothorn, but much smaller, and egg-shaped, and I like that guy. Anyways, that leads me to the boys, who I dropped before week 1 for a much more beloved character. Um, he obviously didn't do anything, but he was also a defiant guy. And then Manly McFlowerhands, I just like Gen 3, and I was like, I'll grab him, whatever." Pretty sure we needed 2 below 400s, so that's why. Um, and yeah, that was it for that. But before week 1, dropped the boys for Dr. Kloppenheimer, who became kind of a staple. Um, pretty frisky because we couldn't use cursed body or not the cursed body. Yeah, cursed body. I don't know what he gets. It's something. Oh, pressure. That's what it is. Um, Slapped an Eviolite on him. He was great. Love that guy. Um, Moving on. Dropped the fat juicy nanners because I was not planning on using Tropius, and for whatever reason, Incineroar had not been picked up. So picked up Fire Crotch, gave him some cool boots. He was pretty awesome. Intimidate guy. Um, After that, so I went up against the villain Pink and his cheater team with Dozugiri, who we should have banned long ago, but ended up only banning him for the playoffs. But when I used Cofagrigus, he just kind of died, and I got mad at him, so I dropped him from the team. Um, Daniel Jones, that boy, and that's when Gil Clinton arrived. And Gil Clinton, I really needed a regenerator because I kind of underestimated how good regenerator was. Um, I don't really know why I gave him a covert cloak, but he's got it. And then the last revision was just giving this guy a choice ban because weakness policy was not very helpful. Um, I didn't even point out that I gave this dude a grip claw just because I thought it was funny. Um, I figured maybe he'll draw like rap, and then they'll just be trapped for like 7 or 8 turns, and that'd be really funny. But he didn't do it a single time, and that was my whole team.
Could you next go over your final team and like what all of their jobs were on it?
So this was my final team. Um, so Doctor Penguin really just went from some dude I didn't care about to maybe a top 5 favorite Pokemon for me. Um, just because he's so funny and he's a steel type and he's competitive. So every time he got an attack drop from Intimidate, his special attack would go up. So he was just a tanky sweeper with leftovers, um, and liked him. Plato was similar. He wasn't a steel type, but he had the option to uh, get some poison off with Poison Touch, and he was just kind of tanky. He was eating up his black sludge. Um, so yeah, it's kind of just my tank core. Um, Albuterol right here was really only used for kind of like counter picking some abilities. Um, but I kind of forgot that my whole team revolved around abilities, so it was kind of not the best when I would bring him. Um, so I only brought him when I really needed to. Um, who's next? RL Swine. He was just kind of a filler. Because I wanted some heavy attackers, physical attackers that is, and I was just hoping Big Choice Band would do something for me. Um, After that, Mordecai was I brought him a few times at the beginning of the season, and then started finding more success with, Dr. Klopp and RL Swine over here. So he was a great 7th man, but I couldn't fit him in near the end. Defiant was good, but he was pretty frail. Um, the egg, I brought this dude pretty much every game minus 1 or 2. Um, and you'd think that this guy would be amazing considering it's like 75% physical attacks. But he was actually like a fusion flare magnet. Like they would just ignore him the whole game and they'd be like, "Oh, we forgot about him," and they would just blow him up with a fire move. Um, so Forbidden Egg, when he was doing stuff, he was doing stuff. And when he decided to get sneezed on by some fire, he would just insta die. Dr. Klopp, I was kind of going back and forth between him and Mamoswine for a bit because I mean, as good and as funny as Dr. Klopp was, Eviolite's just not as sustainable as it might sound without any recovery. Um, and he wasn't doing much damage. So I figured he needed to take a rest after the Glalie allegations that I'm sure will be brought up eventually. Um, but yeah, he was kind of just like a mascot at the end. Um, and we love him for that. Anyway, Roselia over here, I brought him to like 2 games at the beginning of the season. He got a kill. He had a win against Blab, which I think is funny. Um, but he was just a poison pointer with choice specs because he does have base 100 special attack, and that's a lot higher than I thought it was. So good for him. I should mention that every single one of my teammates is a guy, because they are the boys, and we are afraid of women in this household. So, um, yeah, moving on. Firecrotch the Incineroar. He was really just my swap in and out intimidator with boots, so that Glamora couldn't, screw him over, or Rogue, um, stones or spikes, stuff like that. And Gil Clinton was just there to be my regenerator and to swap in and out and be annoying. Um, but he did a lot more staying in than swapping out, but not on his own volition. That's the team.
So now we're gonna move into which of the Mons was your favorite.
It's pretty easy that it's going to Dr. Penguin. Uh, Dr. P had some unfortunate streaks of luck throughout the season, but all in all, I'm pretty sure he even won uh, People's Champion. And I agree because he was the People's Champion. If he wasn't everybody's champion, he was my champion. Um, Dr. Klopp was a pretty close second, just because I mean I like him a lot. I like Gen 3. Um, and it was just fun to have 2 doctors on the team.
Now moving
I did
on
like
to
all of
the
them.
most clutch.
Hmm. So none of them were particularly clutch. Um, I guess if I had to say any of them, it would be Dr. Penguin, but he was also incredibly not clutch in most situations. Um, Mordecai and Dr. Klopp for the first like 2 or 3 weeks were always on the field at the end of a game doing something. So I might give it to just both of them. Um, in hindsight, I probably should have brought them to more games, but it's whatever.
Now we need to address the allegations.
Oh boy.
So for anybody who does not know, Galay was killed in a fatal car accident, and the top suspect was Dr. Kloppenheimer.
So I really don't know how Dr. Klopp got any of the blame. Um, you could have checked fingerprints and everything. He's a frisky fella, and those mitts would have been all over the crime scene. Yet I don't think there was any. Um, if anything, it was that damn Revavroom. Ricky, that was his name. Uh, Ricky was not only the car but the engine, and he knew what he was doing. He uh he crashed, killed Glalie, and then decided that he needed to ruin somebody else's career. So he started pointing 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 little engine fingers.
Is it true that after the allegations, Dr. Klopp did not go to any more games?
That's almost true. I think it's true. I think he might have been to one, but then decided that it wasn't worth it and rode the bench for the rest of the season.
Put a comment on why you made that decision for your team.
Um, I think RL Swine was just showing up a little bit more. He had less on his mind. I think there was a lot weighing down Klopp's psyche. Um, and Swine over here was just He's just ready to plow through some dudes. I mean, pause, but he's ready to fight. I'm just gonna end that with fight.
So you're gonna go on the record to say that Dr. Klops is not guilty?
He is not guilty.
Okay, well, thank you for that. We're gonna move on to the draft portion of this interview, which also may take up a good part of it.
Go ahead and I think it's this one. This was my draft philosophy. And by draft philosophy, I mean I was frantically just typing down things like 20 minutes before the draft. Um, and as you can see, a big majority of the guys that I wrote down were taken. Um, the ones that I had written down, I cannot honestly remember why I did. Sigalith, I'm guessing, was just because he's Wonder Guard and he couldn't get hurt by like poison or spikes or anything or stones or anything. Um, I Delmise, I guess he was just a tanky ghost type. Klinklang, he did win one of the metronome brackets. Um, I figured he could just slap his name on there. Um, Dusk Noir, really not sure why he's on here. Because I have Dusclops down here. I guess that was just in case Dusclops got taken. I don't know. Giraffe because I really like Giraffe. Um, and I wanted to slap an Eviolite on him. Um, but I'm pretty sure Dusclops was just a little bit better as an Eviolite user. Um, but let it be known that Giraffe is still my favorite. Um, I never changed this for when I got Gil Clinton, but Aloma Mola, I originally wanted him for healer. And then during the draft, somebody said that healer sucks, and had like only like a 30% chance of working or something. So I had to write down only for regenerator now because healer is weird. Um, but at the end of the day, I did end up getting him as my regenerator. Um, Water Tauros, I'm pretty positive. I thought it would just be really funny to run Anger Point, and if he got like crit tackled, then he would go to +6 attack. Um, Diggersby though, he he has huge power. Pretty sure that was it. Seadra right here. Um, you know why? You know why I wanted Seadra. Um, but at the end of the day, I did not end up with him because we only had 10 slots, which was a little upsetting. Um, Looking down, I mean, I got Empoleon, Muck, Cophagregus, Tropius, Wheezing, Mamoswine, Braviary, Phalanx, Dusclops. I had all these guys written down that were all taken from me, even the weird ones like Farigiraf and Obstagoon, and the Dunsparce. I don't feel like they were just like stream sniping me. They figured out what I wanted and they started taking them. Um, the obvious ones like Gliscor and Metagross and Mudsdale, they were taken like round one before I even had a chance to pick because I was like the 17th pick or something. So I mean, I was lucky to get Dr. P. Um, then my under 400s here, Mudbray was taken, Shroomish was taken, and then it was really just picked between Ferroseed, Grimer, and Roselia. And I already had Muck, so like I figured I would give Roselia the last slot, and that pretty much concluded my draft.
Okay, perfect. So now I'm gonna move into a few questions about the draft for you.
Whew.
Who do you wish you didn't draft?
I wish I didn't draft Cofagrigus. Because there was nothing funny about him. I picked him for one specific fight that I didn't even bring him to. And then when I did bring him to a fight, he just did not show up. So I dropped him instantly. Um, and the Incineroar could have probably helped me a long time ago. Um, but instead, I had stupid Coffin on my team. Also, as a third round pick, I think I was just so afraid that somebody would take the Gliscor counter, and I was like, I needed to jump on that. But at least Tropius was funny, so I'm glad I got Tropius.
Okay, so moving into the opposite side of this, looking back at the draft, what mons do you wish you could have took that you didn't realize were going to be as good?
Oh, and I didn't realize we're gonna be as good. So I didn't play the Gen 9 DLC because, believe it or not, I think Scarlet and Violet are terrible games. Um, so I didn't know that hospitality was a thing. Um, and I did not realize how good hospitality was. Because when I heard about it, I was like, "Oh, it's just like it's gonna heal like 12% or whatever like toxic heal is." It's like, nope, it's 25%, and then stack that on top of the regenerators. Um, it was a bad time, especially for my team who didn't have either 4, 5, 6 weeks almost. Um, it was yeah, I probably should have done a little bit of research on that than all these guys down here who, it's funny. My load could have been used much better than it was. Don't give that thing a flame orb. Um, yeah.
Okay, so now we're going to move away. Now that we've learned about your team, who you wanted to draft, who you did draft, let's talk about your playoff run because you said you were fortunate enough to make the playoffs.
Oh boy. All right. Let me go ahead and stop this stream. Pull up. Here we go. So this right here was the whole playoff scene. As you can see over here, the top four seeds did get buys. Um, and if you look a little closer, you'll notice that the top four seeds also didn't win. Yeah, all of us lost. Um, so all top four seeds did not win a single playoff game. Um, I wouldn't have had to play, the guy who won if a certain team didn't screw me in the final week of the regular season.
That's
But
something we'll get back to.
that's a for a later question. Um, it was pretty bad. His regenerator Rocky Helmet Slowbro uh he just was so inviting, and my entire team just decided to use weak physical attacks into the Rocky Helmet for the first like 10 turns. Um, or just not use attacks at all. Um, so it was really hardly a game. He just kind of steamrolled me. Um, but it was to be expected. He did have what was essentially the second most broken strategy behind Dozogiri. Um, but it is what it is.
So now we're going to move into the last set of questions I have for you.
Okay.
So they're going to be about your battles. What were your favorite battles from the season that you can remember?
Um, I gotta look through. I'd say a favorite battle of mine had to have been when I played against Renegade in week one because everybody kind of expected my team to be pretty bad. Um, and the Beldums were looking very good. Um, And at the end of that game, my previously mentioned Braviary started clutching out right at the end. And I have never popped off for a Braviary before, but it happened. Um, so that was definitely a favorite of mine. Um, hmm. I really liked getting imprisoned 2 games in a row, um, but not really. That really sucked because I can't really think of any other games. Oh, it was funny playing against Rosser using just dark type so he couldn't attack me because his whole team was like prankster. Um, but yeah,
Okay, now we're going to move into the final question, and it is going to be your least favorite battles. There is a certain battle I'm going to leave to the end
so
because certain context will need to be explained for it. But go ahead with some
you
other
don't want me to
battles.
mention.
Leave that till the last
So
one.
the aforementioned double imprison games happened when I played against the previously in the league Sheep and his team, the Plusland Minans. I was winning the whole game. I was up maybe 5-2, 5-3. He procced an imprison. My whole team struggled to death. And I was like, you know what? It happens. Whatever. Then I played against these fellas right here, the Porygons, the previously 1-8 team that nobody was supposed to lose to. Um, he also imprisoned me. But that was right after he got down spikes. So switching out meant I took damage, attacking meant I took damage, and I just couldn't do anything about it. So that was 2 games in a row. That was not fun. Um, this game right here against the Mian Shaos, um, another game where my whole team just decided to target the Pharaoh Thorn with Iron Barbs and Rocky Helmet with weak physical attacks the entire game. Um, yeah, it was pretty awful.
Any more games?
Am I allowed to mention the game?
Not yet. We'll save that for last.
Um, there wasn't a whole lot of games that I disliked because I obviously I was not enjoying fighting Cam and his Poltergeist and whatever, whichever one he had, and the horse. It was just too much for my frail little team. Um, but it's a good thing we like Cam, or else I would have been mad at him. Um,
So, as we've been alluding to this entire time, there is a game which is needed to be talked
I'm
about as somebody's least favorite. Please provide the context now.
actually gonna do you one better, and I'm just gonna pull up the game.
Oh, okay. You might want to explain the seeding going into this and how it occurred.
So we had somebody drop out. So PB here decided he was going to take the reins and make a playoff. And he would not have made the playoffs if he didn't win all of his games. I was his final obstacle. And I should have won because, my team was better and I was doing better. Let me go ahead and pull up that game real quick.
I made a certain acquisition after taking the team.
Uh, here we go. Let me go ahead and change this stream to here. So what you'll notice is, he has Glimmet. So he's got toxic spikes. Who cares? I've got 2 steel types, a poison type, and a heavy duty bootsman. So I wasn't worried about that. He's got Sandstream, and I've got two steel types and a ground type. Didn't matter too much. He's got the scary Duraludon. He's got the wheezing and slacking. Like who cares? Whatever. I can do this. Let me go ahead, play the game. Let me go ahead and fast this real quick. So to start this game, Sandstream, whatever, whatever. He switches into Duraludon, Incineroar. Yeah, that's fine, whatever. Close combat. It was huge. I got big damage early. He heal pulsed me. Like, what is this idiot doing? I switch into the egg. Who cares? There's an ice punch. The rock blasts. Nothing. So it's pretty much a nothing game so far. I'm doing pretty well getting damage on that Duraludon. He double edges the egg. Fantastic. I get some good damage. Things are looking so good. It's almost like I cannot lose. The egg surfs my own team. Yeah, like who
Stream
cares?
has frozen.
It's fine. Oh. Um, go ahead and that and start again. Um, it's still frozen.
Good, everything's moving.
Okay. So, let me go ahead. Oh shit! I just went to. No, that wasn't first turn. So highlight this. He swaps the Tyranitar in. Um, double edge into the Forbidden Egg, does damage to Donphan. Surf. I hit my teammate. I hit both of them for super. Well, I don't hit the Donphan. Tyranitar right here, a rollout, fantastic, because he will get constant damage into my egg. Double kick into the egg, even better. Yeah, same turn, egg kills himself. So I'm not getting that damage, and now I'm up against a stab rollout coming from Tyranitar. Also, keep in mind this Donphan is at 10% health on 5. We'll get to that in a few turns. Rollout into Gill, whatever. A U-turn misses Donphan because of that Sand Veil. Super effective tantrum. Whatever. Let me get that Incineroar in. Roll out into Incineroar. Gonna do hella damage. I'm going down with dive. He misses the rollout. That's great. Whole bunch of nothing. Do get the burn though, and then miss the Donphan again. Fire Crotch basically has 1 turn left, so I don't even decide to swap him out. It doesn't matter. The Shy Shock would have killed the Donphan, but he swaps out. So, average game, average game. Who cares? Who cares? Let's see when this happens. I don't exactly remember what turn. There's a Cosmic Power. Who cares? Oh, there's Gil Clinton killing himself. So that's 2 mementos. Keep in mind, memento is probably the worst kill yourself move because they can just swap out and get rid of those stat nerfs. So I've done that twice instead of, explosion or final gambit or anything useful. So let's just continue. There's the swine. The storm hits. Whatever. RL swine, no retreating, so no matter what happens, I can't get. Crush Crawl instantly drops my defense. Sucks. But what are you gonna do about it? What are you gonna do about it? Whole bunch of nothing going on. Let me just go ahead and skip a little bit. Nothing, 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 nothing. Nothing, 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 nothing. Nothing, nothing. Giga Impact, nothing, nothing. Ooh, here we go. So Dr. Penguin gets frozen by whatever happens. Oh wait, this even turn before that. Is he already frozen? When did this dude get frozen? All these stats are covering him up. When did you get frozen? My God. Just gonna keep going back. He cannot be. Oh, he is frozen. Frozen. Frozen, 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 Frozen. Not Frozen. Here we go. Um, so that kind of maybe spoiled the surprise a little bit. But there's a powder snow, does 1%, freezes the penguin. Frozen, 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 frozen. Calls himself. Fantastic. That's amazing news. Um, he's not dead. He's got a lot of keep in mind, he just used an attack on a 1% slacking and didn't kill it because Crush Grip only does big damage based on how much health he has. Um, so there was that not clutch penguin I was talking about. Um, next turn, hey, that Dom fan's still on 10%. Should have been dead a while ago. Um, things are looking fine for me anyway. And there's the third memento. So Dr. Penguin is frozen for 18 turns, thaws for 1 turn, and then mementos. So that was amazing. Um, Donphan and Duraludon both have like no health left, so Plato just has to clutch up. He misses. It's pretty awful. The Sacred Fire, and who could guess that he burns me? Um, a whole bunch of nothing was happening. They were just getting constant damage on me. Plato was doing nothing. Um, the Earthquake kills Duraludon, and then Plato does nothing. Has a chance, has one more move to use. Misses the non-Sand Veil Donphan, mind you. I mean, obviously, Fury Cutter wouldn't have killed, but it's whatever. Earthquake doesn't kill because of the burn and the attack drop. And that was the game. Um, probably the most unfortunate game I've ever seen. Yeah, that's it.
So if you could sum that game up in one word, what would it be?
Um, hmm, hmm. Bullshit, probably.
It's fair. So do you have any
Um,
questions or anything you'd like to answer before we end this?
I don't. I've just reheated myself from that game. I'm very upset again. If I won that game, I wouldn't have had to play against Papple. I might have gotten further.
We'll never know.
We'll never know.
Anything you'd like to shout out before we end this?
Um, shout out to me almost beating uh Pink's 18 and 1 team. But Dr. Penguin decided to shadow sneak into the parish body and kill himself. Um, shout out to one sec. Standings right here. I'll shout out Pink because his team. I mean, they cheated, but they were the best. Cam because he's a cool guy and was in second. Fichi was pretty neat. Not really around, but neat. Um, Papple, mad at Papple, but shout out to him. The renegade that we're never gonna see again. Davin for getting second. We think that's like eighth place. Uh, Mr. Bo Flingus, Fiji Gaming, Fiji All Business. Um, Blab. Uh, and then, as much as I hate to say, shout out somebody who's British, but Rosser. And I guess shouting out you because you're Panda now. Um,
Well, I was.
and obviously Chris. I'm shouting out Chris because he won the losers bracket. He defied all odds. Um, and stole a spot because Blab dropped out.
I did not mention this in the Cam interview, but Chris started his season 1-8 through 3 weeks and ended the season 10-1 going into the playoffs.
Well, wait, 10-1?
He was 10-1 going into the playoffs, but then losing.
But oh, like he went on a 10-1 streak.
One of the most impressive stretches I think we'll ever see in this league. So big
Yeah,
thanks to
he
him.
lost like one game out of 10 or 11 in a row. Um, so shout out to Wall, the Agron, because he made it to the top 20 leaderboard, even though he wasn't on the leaderboard the entire season.
And of course, thank you for having this interview.
Thank you for listening to me get mad about the game I played against you.